Did you guys know that there's a 5 a.m. as well? This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 188 of the Anthem podcast. We are coming to you live from the hashtag OTALA studios, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. It is 8:51 Pacific time, which makes it 11:51 Eastern time?
Yeah, nearly midnight.
Yes, and we are live from coast to coast, so thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Had a little bit of technical difficulty, sorry about that. We posted about the podcast was going to start a little earlier, but I had some technical difficulties, but here we go. So.
Yep. And if you're watching right now, and the audio sounds a little bit off on the live stream, we apologize, but we are trying to work through those technical difficulties. 188 consecutive weeks?
Yes.
We're not missing this. We're not putting it off.
No. And I want to say first off, a celebration this week, something that wasn't on our pre-show meeting, but celebration this week. I don't know if you realize what this is the anniversary of.
It is 1 year since our last show at the original O The Anthem Studios, the OG O The Anthem Studios, deep below the earth in Parkville, Maryland.
The OG studios that held us for the first 30 months of the podcast.
Yeah.
And now we've been here for going on 12 months, but it's weird to think that. But so the first, I guess, 130 episodes in that studio, and 1 year ago today was our last episode at the old studios. We're still thinking about you, Baltimore. Obviously, we are all the time taking it back to the Baltimore corner.
Where you get the straight dope.
Right? But we'll have to just be in spirit because obviously we have now moved out to the OTLA studios. But I don't know if it's better or worse.
High above the 110 freeway.
Yeah, it's certainly different. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's certainly different. So,
I mean, I think that the original studio wasn't without its charm.
Sure, yeah.
And this one is just a little bit better.
Right. I mean, it had a indoor pool on some days.
Yeah.
It had its own studio feel, like there was the own separate studio part of it.
Yeah.
It was hot when it was hot outside. It was cold when it was cold outside. Yeah. Like it had a remarkable charm. So that part of it will be missed.
It's like looking back on Memorial Stadium. It's not as good as Camden Yards.
Sure.
But, it had its charms.
Yeah.
It was there when you needed it.
And on the other side of it, I wouldn't much care if this particular studio was hot when it was hot and cold when it was cold, because it's basically always just the same temperature here. Although I will say, I was sitting outside, and it's 65 degrees out, and I realized I've become acclimated, because I was outside like, it is freezing. I need to get inside. What am I doing in my life? Oh, it's like a savage.
I think it's funny because earlier this week I was on Snapchat and I just saw like 4 or 5 people from Maryland with like 20 degrees on their
Yeah.
It's like them all bundled up, like just little eye holes through the jacket.
No, thank you. I want none of that. And the recipe for that is I'm going to go home at the coldest time of the year just because.
Just to punish yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Just to punish myself.
Merry Christmas.
Although I do think that there will be a special appreciation for LA coming off the plane from Maryland when it's been 30, 20, 10 degrees in Maryland. You get here and you're like, oh, thank God, 65 again. I could do this forever, which is kind of the intent. So, but anyway, I wanted to get to your week. You had a bit of an interesting week this week.
Well, I've been racking up time on set.
Right.
I just got off the feature. We spoke about that. I don't think it was last week. But
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm doing another short for the AFI. And yeah, it's been a real great time. I've enjoyed everybody I'm working with. I think that it's going to be a really good project when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
And looking forward to it, but not always that happy about waking up at 5 a.m.
And nobody
one
is.
thing I hate about film. It's like all the fun when you get there.
Right.
And I get to have those moments from time to time, like those self-aware moments where you're just like, this is my life now.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier. This is great. Like,
wait, you don't miss sitting in an office working on paperwork all day?
Nope, not at all. But I'm just like, this is so nice. Like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy I made this decision and stuff like that. And at the same time, like this morning when my alarm goes off at 5, I'm just like, I don't want to live anymore.
Well, I'm sure it's
Rachel, call set and tell him I'm dead.
I'm calling in dead today.
I'm calling in dead. I'll be back tomorrow.
So I'm sure that there's going to be a lot more to this story, and
because there's 12. Like usually a film set is like 12 hours.
Yes,
On average, it's like 12 hours. So if you're going to be shooting like during the day,
only during the day,
yeah, like just during daylight hours, then you have to get there at like 6 a.m.
Well, now with daylight savings time, God.
Fucking farmers. God damn
it. But so obviously there's probably been a lot of things that happen on set, a lot of stuff you want to talk about. Where would people be able to get more information about your time on set?
You can go on Facebook to Corey Baker Filmmaker, facebook.com/Corey Baker Film, and on Instagram and Twitter at LegendCB5. That's where I've been posting pictures from set.
Excellent. And, of course, the blog at CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com.
Indeed.
Yeah, so make sure everybody checks that out. I did not have such an exciting week. Pretty boring, just basically getting up early, going to work early, staying at work late, coming home, and writing because it's NaNoWriMo, as we talked about last week.
Well, you did go to a rave.
But Friday night, I decided that I hate myself enough that I want to go out. I want to leave my apartment at 1 o'clock in the morning to go out to a party. And it's been a long time since I came home to a house and was entering the house as people were leaving for work.
Yeah.
I would say probably the frat house in Denton that happened occasionally because like on the weekend the other guys had to work and so I would just be out all night and then come home. But
I would also be like, if I had to put a guess on it, I would have put it at public safety.
Okay.
Hofstra. Like when you used to work the booth.
That did happen occasionally.
Like
but
where you would come back at like 8 a.m. or something like that because you worked like a 12 to 8.
Yes.
And then you would get there just as somebody was like, oh, I'm going to the gym. Not necessarily like work, but like...
Right. The difference is, when I got home from the party, you call it a rave, I guess you call it a rave if you want to call it a rave, but when I got home from the event, I was wasted and you were sober, which did not happen when I was working at public safety. It's a stay sober.
I think the statute of limitations is passed on Hofstra's ability to fuck you.
There was no ability to drink because you're on camera the whole time, and the public safety officers, like the real cops, would come by occasionally. And like I'm a friendly guy, and I got to know a bunch of them, so it's just like, oh hey, what's going on? So one day I was like, hey buddy, how are you? They're like, yeah, it's what's going on? Let's check this situation out. So, but. It was super fun. I always tell people, like, never say no to anything. Go check out new things. And EDM, electronic dance music, is not my scene. Yeah. It's not your scene either. But I would tell you, I have never felt more welcomed than at that warehouse party. Just like people of all stripes, just coming together, sweating a lot, and getting fucked up and listening to music. Like, there was nothing better than that. It's the most welcoming environment I've felt since I've been in LA. So,
nice.
A big thank you to Andrew over at Understated LA. I recommend everybody check out Understated LA on Facebook and Instagram. Check out some of their artists. They're great. Everybody in the lineup on Friday night was fantastic. Well, on Saturday morning was fantastic. I didn't get there till Saturday morning, but and I left at 5 and the party was still going. And I walked outside and I'm like, what are people doing? I'm too old for this shit. I cannot do this anymore.
See, my thing now is that like if you told me that we're going out for New Year's Eve, and that we're gonna be out really late, then I'm taking a nap at some point on New Year's Eve,
right? To
prepare for the New Year celebration to come.
Well, to be fair, I did.
Yeah,
I took a nap before I got home.
You did, but I'm saying like I there's no way at this point in my life. I'm this old man now.
Yeah.
Where like I can't just like have an impromptu like we're going all night. Like
to be fair,
I need to have worked out a sleep schedule. I need to make sure that my
get a nap in ahead of time. Yeah. No, I will say that in the last
like 1:30 in the morning I'm gonna be like my feet hurt. Somebody carry me.
And we don't have any room for that
when I toss my heels over my shoulder.
There's no room for that when Rachel's going to be calling you a bitch for the last 8 hours that we are out. So you can't be doing that. But What was I saying? I have stayed up and played video games since we've had the PlayStation in the house. There's been the occasion where, like, I think I talked about it before, where we are playing, like, I played Uncharted and I played Grand Theft Auto, and I just get so into it that time passes and you don't really know that time's passing, and then, like, the sunlight starts to come in through the window and you're like, oh, man, it's morning.
Yeah.
Should probably go to sleep. Okay, let's go do that.
I've done that with Madden in the midday. Like, I'll say to myself, like, all right, today I need to do sound notes, and I need to write, and I need to do these other 4 things.
Yeah.
And I'll do the sound notes, and I'll be like, well, I'm thinking about getting something to eat, but I'm not quite there yet, so maybe I'm just going to play just a little bit of Madden.
Just a little bit.
Just a smidge of Madden. Play a smidge of Madden.
Yeah.
And then I'll go out and get something to eat, and I'll come back, and then I'll write.
Yeah.
And then, like, 4 days later, I'm, like, where am I? I was just playing 20 minutes of Madden. Like,
you hear the key in the door, and you're like, oh, God, Mom's home.
Is it 6 o'clock?
I forgot to take the chicken out of the fridge.
Doing a barrel roll over the counter.
I don't know why.
It's been this thing the whole time. I don't know why it's still frozen.
Weird. It's you should have defrosted by now. I
took it out at 10 a.m. when you told me to. I swear I did.
Yeah.
This might be some of that chicken that doesn't unfreeze.
Right.
We should return it.
We should return it. I know we cooked the other half of the same package last night, but I don't know what it is in the fifth one.
Bring these 3 fillets and a plastic baggie. Like, these are not defrosting. I would like my money back.
I can't even eat these. How am I supposed to? What's the point?
If I can't unfreeze them, what's the point?
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the way to the Walmart, they're defrosting in your car. Like, no, they're still frozen.
Shit. Bring it to customer service, and they're just like,
it's
actually like pretty. I think you could cook it right now.
No.
Still frozen. Don't play your games with me, Walmart.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm too old to do that. It has basically ruined my weekend because then on Saturday I just was lazy all day. I didn't even write. Today I actually got a lot of writing done. 5,000 words today. 5,000 words in a single day. So that's nothing to snuff at. And so I'm almost caught back up to the pace after taking off so much time. Not quite yet. But I will say one other thing that happened this week is I used MoviePass for the first time. So I am super excited about that, and I want to share that with all of you guys, the whole experience. So make sure you check out me on YouTube at youtube.com/RobertandCheek, and you can find out all about my MoviePass experience, something that Corey doesn't know anything about.
I will, though.
He's going to order MoviePass at some point.
I was just waiting to make a payment on a credit card, and then I was going to use that credit card as the one that...
Why? Why not just use the bank account? Just
because I hate things coming automatically out of my bank account.
Because the way your bank account's set up, you got a savings and checking, and sometimes you got to shift money across between the two accounts.
Not just that. Sometimes I see. Here's the thing. This is a problem when I was working at Nelson's too. But I mean, especially now, I'm freelance and I don't know for sure when I'm going to get paid at any particular point. Like, you know, I'm working a lot right now, but come a week from now, I might be bone dry.
Yeah.
And I'd rather not have that hanging $15 automatic charge come out.
$9.95. $9.95.
Yeah. Anywho.
Moving on. So anyway, check out the video. I'll recap my experience with MoviePass, hopefully for 2 times, because I think we're going to go see another movie. Just so Corey has to pay if he wants to come. Just to stick it as much as possible in the next couple of weeks. Like, hey, we're going to the movies. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to cost you like $11. I mean, we're going for free, basically. But, you know, our first movie paid for that whole thing. But yeah, whatever. Anyway, so sticking with movie business news. It has not been a good week in Hollywood yet again this week.
Yeah, for the last month here, in the wake of Harvey Weinstein and all the other sexual assault stories.
Yeah. And I want to say, we didn't really talk about this, but it just occurs to me. Did you hear that Gal Gadot says she is not going to be Wonder Woman?
Yeah. If they don't get rid of Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, I would like to state for the record that came from Page 6. And they had anonymous sources, and nobody from Warner or Gal Gadot has like really like.
But would you say I'm going to violate a huge contract I have with Warner Brothers?
I mean, if I was Gal Gadot, I would just hang into the. I don't know. Maybe it is true. Maybe it isn't.
Maybe you should get rid of Brett Ratner.
Maybe you should get rid of Brett Ratner and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe it won't be
I
an
mean,
issue.
I feel like Brett Ratner, and I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I feel like he's sort of made this image for himself that puts him in an easy situation to be pegged in this hole.
Cancel.
And I don't know why they responded to that.
Yeah. Why did pegged in this hole cause such a reaction, Corey? Have you been searching for some topics like that, or
maybe Google's just nosy.
By the way, wouldn't you think that YouTube being a Google product and Google Home being a Google product, it'd be like, hey, the guys who live in this apartment, they're live on YouTube. Maybe we should just turn off the mic for a second.
I can tell. We know everything about them.
But one of my new favorite things I saw a meme on Facebook is that Facebook advertising is so good. I love when I see an ad about something that I didn't type or speak or do to anyone. I just thought it. I thought it last week, and now I'm getting a Google ad for it, or a Facebook ad. That is how good the system is built now. But we still have Google Home turned on while we're doing a podcast. So
I would also say that I hate Facebook ads for that same reason.
Yes.
Like, so B&H is like a camera video store, and from time to time I will hear about some product, and I'll be like, oh wow, that sounds amazing. Let me go to B&H and see how much it is.
Yeah.
And then I'll type in that product into B&H, and then it'll be like $65,000, and I'll be like, yeah, right.
Nope. Sorry.
Yeah. And then I'll close it, and then the next time I go on Facebook, it'll be like B&H ad, and it'll be like, you want to buy that Arri Alexa you were looking at? I'm just like, no, I wasn't really looking at it.
It's a discount now, $64.99. $64,999. Yeah. Anyway, so all jokes aside, back to Gal Gadot. So I hope so. I hope that the rumors are true. Like like the kid from Stranger Things, and like a lot of people that have been coming out recently are saying that I am in the position to take a stand, so I'm going to take a stand.
Yeah, and put your money where your mouth is.
I don't know that Warner Brothers would sue her. I imagine that they would, but like,
I don't think she's locked down.
No, she is as the character. She is for Justice League and for the next Wonder Woman movie, and then after that she's open. But the Justice League's in the books because that'll be coming out in the next 2 weeks or so. But the second Wonder Woman movie, she's the only one that's locked in. And that's, the director was actually on, I want to say
Patty Jenkins?
Yeah, she was on The Business or something, some KCRW show.
Yeah.
And was just like, how little trust do they have in female directors? Like, they locked in the star when they weren't sure how it was going to be built in the universe, but they're still, like, holding me out.
Yeah.
Even though it was, like, it was the movie that saved WB for this summer season. But, anyway, so
I mean, like to me, it just feels like if we were looking at characters on Happy Days, you would probably say that the most likely to have committed some sort of sexual assault would be the Fonz.
Okay,
he's the most likely. I'm just saying, like it looks that way.
We've already had a discussion about how I despise the phrase "the most likely to do these things."
No, I get it.
Having been used against me in the past.
I understand. I'm just saying. If you look at all the other, I mean, like Ralph Malph doesn't have it in him,
right? Yeah.
But I mean, like Brett Ratner is basically the Fonz of Hollywood in the sense that, like, he's been putting on this like Playboy impresario for so long, and he's just like.
It's the kind of thing where you are thinking there is no way that this is how he is. Like he goes home and cries himself to sleep.
Right.
He might still be a virgin. Who knows? Like, but that's just how he was probably overcompensating into being this person. But apparently not. If their rumors are true, I don't know. And it's so hard to keep track now. I don't know what is like Hollywood reporters saying we have anonymous sources and what is people coming out and making claims against them. Was Brett Ratner one of the actual people making claims, or just
he was tied into claims?
Okay,
but I mean, like his again, and it's hard to keep track of like every single one of these stories.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I know that there was the Ellen Page just wrote something about Brett Ratner.
That's true. Right. Yeah.
On
X-Men.
Yeah, and I know Olivia Munn had some sort of statement about how Brett Ratner was really shitty to her, and I don't remember what the
I'm surprised you're willing to say his name, given that Olivia Munn had something to say.
Oh, I know. It's just in my shit list now.
Yeah.
I brought him out for this podcast. No, but it's number one. Can we just take a quick sidebar here to talk about how fucking horrible the press is these days? Mm-hmm. The amount of I was reading an article about somewhere, like, because there was a big kerfuffle about it. And they were just like, according to anonymous sources, we heard that. I'm just like, why do you need fucking anonymous sources for the trash pickup thing? Like,
well, because that's how they operate there. That's the whole thing.
It used to be that it was Jim, and he worked at a mail distribution processing plant.
Yeah.
And you could see his face, and you knew who he was, and now it's.
But we attack whistleblowers now.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying, like, it's like not one person is like. Obviously, there's plenty of people coming out and saying that there's accusations against them, especially in this latest round of scandal involving Hollywood. But I mean, it's just like the amount of times that I'm seeing anonymous sources claimed in any kind of an article is kind of bewildering.
One of the ironic things to me is that when I get not original to me, I saw it pointed out this week. One person went in and accused Kevin Spacey, and everything changed for Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
How many women have been talking about Harvey Weinstein forever?
Yeah.
And how many women have been talking about Brett Ratner forever? And
well, people have been talking about Louis forever too.
And it really takes a multitude of women, but one guy can change the whole situation for.
But I mean, like, you know, I knew about people talking about Louis way before this week.
Right.
Like, I had heard those stories before, but it doesn't. I mean, it just seems to me that, like, and this isn't even about the coverage of the Hollywood sexual abuse scandals and stuff like that. I'm just talking in general. Go on to any story, and no matter how benign it seems like it may be, there's anonymous sources.
Yeah.
And I feel like at a certain point, you have to wonder which of these stories are being cooked, because anonymous sources have. If it's Pence, if there's like a story about Trump in the paper, and it's just like Trump definitely colluded with Russia, and we have an anonymous source backing it up, and then you go into your editor with the stories, it's like, all right, well, just between me and you, who's the source? Because I can't print this if the source isn't good. It's like, it's Pence. Oh, okay. I get why he needs to be anonymous. I get why you can't put his name out there.
Right.
But if you're talking about, like, you know, this person won the biggest, or guessed the closest weight to the watermelon at the county fair, and anonymous sources, I'm just like,
there's no anonymous sources in that. Wait, the editor's decision it's all about considering the source. If the New York Times or the Washington Post, or really any newspaper, because they can't afford to be sued anymore, was to run a story with an anonymous source, I trust that the editor knows who the source is and decided, yes, we are going to let them go anonymously.
On certain publications.
Right, but I'm not talking about Breitbart.
Well, no, but I mean, like, if I'm reading the New York Post or the Washington Post or New York Times,
Wall Street
Journal, or any major newspaper,
reputable news sources.
Yes, I'm willing to give the nod to the anonymous source, because I feel like there's some person on the masthead who knows when this should be used. But the problem is, like, if I'm seeing, like, on BuzzFeed, anonymous sources, I don't feel like the 14-year-old teen who runs the editorial department at BuzzFeed is the one to be making up the decision as to whether or not somebody should be anonymous or not.
If you're going to BuzzFeed for your news, by the way, the same place where you can find out, take a test to find out which Game of Thrones character you are, and what are 14 ways that your man's lying to you, then that's your problem.
Kardashian period you most resemble.
Yeah, that's your problem. It's not that their editorial style or anything. Stop going to BuzzFeed for your news.
I mean, they did break the Steele dossier, but
they were part of the people who broke the Steele dossier.
They were the ones who were willing to just, like, fuck it, let's put it out there.
Right, and they did it without vetting the sources, and who followed closely thereafter?
Times.
New York Times, after they vetted the sources, they got beat by 12 hours because they vetted the sources.
Yeah.
So BuzzFeed was right on this one. Yeah. Maybe. That's fine. I would prefer to just get my news from another source.
Right.
But one story that has now become absolute truth, because he's apologized, is Louis C.K.'s the allegations against him.
Yeah.
And I think at this count there were 5 women who were saying that
I think that's right.
4 names and then an anonymous 5th person who said they didn't want to get involved because they're married now and the whole situation. But I think that there's been an interesting discussion about whether or not Louis' allegations are better or worse, or however you want to put it, to the other allegations that we're hearing.
I think that's one of the things that really kind of, I don't want to say bothers me, but it is the thing that is I'm most curious about. Because right now, anything is too much.
Yeah.
Is a bridge too far. The fact that there was any kind of unwanted sexual advance that's it. Regardless of what the extent of it is. I remember Lucy had come over here and talked about, like, I don't know why American guys don't just kiss you.
Right.
I'm just like, because that's how you get fucking punched in the face.
Yep.
From American girls.
Or,
that's why.
Or you get visited by the police the next day about how, like, oh, well, she
Right.
wasn't looking for that.
And I mean, like, I just feel like, I mean, I think that exposing people is sort of like a karmic way of doing this and stuff like that. But we as the people ingesting the news have no ability to comprehend gradients and degrees in this matter.
Right.
Because anybody who's being tied to it is automatically being lumped in with, like, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And I'd be more interested in seeing, call it 5 years from now, when Louis releases a free stand-up special on his website.
Right.
Where he talks about everything that he's learned from this, and people say, like, oh, bravo, Louis C.K. learned something and put out a hilarious stand-up special, and he's back in Hollywood.
Yeah. Welcome.
We welcome him with open arms.
Well, but he's not actually leaving Hollywood. And that's one of the things is he's producing 2 female-led, female-directed.
But he's not going to be involved in them.
He won't be, but he's going to be getting checks.
Yeah.
And Harvey Weinstein ain't getting checks. Kevin Spacey ain't getting checks.
Harvey still gets checks.
No, they cut him out of the company.
They can't cut him out of the...
He violated the ethics clause of his contract. He's out.
That doesn't... When you get residuals for something...
Oh, well, true. No, so that's not from the company, though. He's getting residuals from Miramax, where he was a personal investor, not the Weinstein Company, where he was the...
It's not even that. I mean, like, if you buy Chocolat, then Harvey Weinstein's getting a cut.
Well, yeah.
If
you bought anything that was...
Even if the PGA is dropping him and saying he's no longer a member in good standing or anything like that, that doesn't mean that he gets his residuals cut from him.
And
so,
just, keep in mind, if
5 cents of every Chocolat DVD that's purchased is going to Harvey Weinstein. So.
Anything that was competing for an Oscar in the 90s, you got like a 1 in 3 chance of giving Harvey Weinstein money.
Yeah.
Like, that's how prolific he was. But, so I mean, that's the discussion is, one, I hear a lot of people trying to make excuses and saying, well, what Louis did wasn't as bad as what other people did. There was, I think in people's minds, there is this border between the touching of someone else and then the, like, the embarrassment, I don't want to say embarrassment, but, like, the awkwardness of what he did to himself in front of other people.
Yeah.
But when we were discussing this earlier, I think that somebody, you or I, probably me because it was brilliant,
I mean,
made the point about like it's the power though that yes he got the people. Everyone said yes, but people said yes because they felt like they had to say yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the concern is not the fact that Louis. I mean, like obviously it's a little unsettling to think about Louis masturbating, like bringing you in and being like, "Is it okay if I masturbate?" and just doing it.
And being like, "Yeah," and then actually doing it, like because and that's the other thing is he hid in plain sight in a lot of ways. Like his comedy routine. I think somebody did a super cut of every time he made a jerk off motion in all of his like last 5 specials, and it runs for like 4.5 minutes long. Like each one of them is maybe 10 seconds of jerking motion. It runs a long, awkwardly long time when you take just those cuts from it. So like he's basically saying that he was doing these things, and we were all like, "Oh, that's a funny joke," but he was actually doing it.
Right.
And then you have to take that with the thought that he, more than probably anyone else in Hollywood, is encouraging female directors, female producers, female screenwriters, female showrunners to go out and make things. When he got his deal at FX, Pamela Adlon was the first person he got a show for.
Yeah.
And when she said, I want all female directors and I want I want like a majorly female writing room. Okay.
Yeah.
He and her sat down and wrote the first 3 episodes.
I mean,
got it bought, and then.
I mean, you could make an argument that Louis was a friend of the feminist. This time last year.
And I think people would say that up until the allegations came out and were confirmed, most people in this town would have said he is the most feminist comic that you're going to find.
Feminist male comic.
Feminist male comic. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Feminist male comic.
I keep going back to this. This has been my recurring thought this week. How fucking happy is Michael Vick that he came up in the time he came up and not now? Because I remember I was so I felt like that Michael Vick should be like shot into the sun or something like that. It's like nothing is too bad for him.
Yeah.
And then people would go like, well, he was just killing dogs. He wasn't killing people. It's not like he killed people. And I'm just like, okay, fair enough. I can understand the difference between people and dogs.
Yeah.
But also, like he was like, slitting dogs' throats and like hurling them down flights of stairs and like breaking their backs over his knees, shit like that. Like he wasn't. It's not like he just like casually tried like put the dog like or put it in a gas chamber and let it die or something.
Yeah.
Like that. He went out of his way to like viciously murder these dogs, who he was locking up in cages that were too small, and he was forcing them to fight against each other.
Yeah.
Everything like that. And then there was all the people going like well, this is a way of life, and like for some people this is just part of the normal routine. I'm just like, fuck this. I don't care. Yeah. Like, if you have a dog that you fight from time to time, but you treat him like royalty when he's not in the pit, then that's fine. I don't like it, but at least it's. Are
you coming out on record as being okay with dog fighting?
No. Jesus Christ. I'm saying that if the part that bothered me the most about this whole story was that he was going above and beyond to rid of these animals.
Yes.
He wasn't just like, it's not like he had a thing for dog fighting and the murdering of the dogs was just like an afterthought. Like that was the part that really bothered me.
Okay.
But he went to jail. He served his time.
Yeah.
Then he was allowed back in the league because he served his time. And now, he's still a multimillionaire because he made many millions of dollars on the other side of his career after prison.
Yeah.
And now he's in the fucking studio with CBS or something like that, breaking down game footage and talking with like, Bill Cowher and stuff like that about like how the Falcons look this season. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened? What happened to the outrage over what Michael Vick did? And the difference is that we used to hear a story, and we would have like a moral outrage about it for a period of time,
right?
And then it would just be forgotten. It's like as far as if he's on CBS, then most Americans don't give a shit anymore about what he did. That's essentially how it worked. Like they would hear from so many people if it was still a big deal.
Well, I think
so. At what point? I mean, we talked about Harvey's career's over. I don't imagine unless Harvey Weinstein cuts like a $75 million check.
Well, you said he produces a series of Oscar winners and then comes out and is like, I donated all of my money to domestic violence and sexual harassment charities, and that's what I'm looking to do. Then maybe you buy your way in because he's still got the talent and he's donating the money, and maybe that gets in.
But I mean, like I feel like he'd have to. He was trying to start a school at USC for like female directors, and they returned his money.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to be tied to it.
Well, now, but if he does that in 10 years when he's an old man and
I mean, the thing that I mean, like I get why people are upset with celebrities for their various misdeeds here in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein scandal. But I mean, like, to me, and I know that this is not saying that Louis is good or I'm defending Louis or anything like that. But I feel like Louis's crimes were way less than Harvey's.
Right.
Even if even if Harvey only had the 5 cases,
Right.
like
Which
Louis did.
He had a lot more.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, even if it was the same amount of actual incidents or victims, then I still feel like Louis was not as bad as Harvey's. Now I know that the idea that you would use your power against somebody is the concern,
yes,
not the level to which you do it.
Yes.
But I'm saying, like, you know, at what point there's no going to jail for Louis C.K.
No.
Because nothing, I mean, technically nothing he did was illegal.
Arguably,
sure. I mean, because, you know, like, if you brought one of these cases to court, there would at some point be a, you know, he asked and I said yes.
Right.
So that kind of...
except for the consent in this case, and civilly and criminally, can be controlled by power. So if somebody who has power over you can coerce you into saying yes, even if you don't mean yes. So, but whether it's worth it or not, that's the question.
I mean, I doubt you get a conviction out of it, I guess.
That's
right.
So here's my question, because in the past couple of weeks we talked about this. You've been talking about, and I'm going to put a word in your mouth, correct me if I'm wrong, but about penance. Someone needs to make penance. Has Louis C.K. done pre-penance for what has happened? He apologized immediately when the story came out. And the last 10 years of his life have been about promoting female directors, female people in the industry who are female, and all of them that worked with him have said nothing but glowing things about him. Yeah. It's the people who are ancillarily connected to him.
Ancillarily?
I don't think it's ancillarily. That's my first bet. Ancillarily, maybe either one. Connected to him. So like,
I mean, ancillary is the word.
Ancillary.
Yeah. If you were doing,
if he was ancillary, but ancillarily. If you add the
I don't know
L-Y, I think that shifts it. Anyway, not important. Here's the point: is that so the 2 women who came into the hotel room in the 2 women who came into the hotel room in Colorado.
Yeah.
They didn't work for him. Like, he was not in a position of power over them. He was in a position of, maybe I can make your career, and turns out probably stunted their career some by, you know, getting the word out there. But like, every woman who's worked for him said that he's been nothing but outstanding. Meanwhile, again, talking about gradients, Harvey Weinstein is bringing in women and saying, do this or I'm going to ruin you.
Yeah.
Has Louis C.K. paid penance for what he did?
Well, I mean, like, I'm not saying that he's paid penance. Like, all that he's done has made up for the fact that he's acted at all. I mean, I feel like the term used to be movie jail.
Yeah.
You know, Mel Gibson was in movie jail.
Right.
He got drunk and he called some cop sugar tits and he said the Jews were responsible for all that was wrong in the world. And he couldn't get hired for a while, and with understandable purpose. And
then he made Hacksaw Ridge, and he's back.
No, but I mean, like, he did things before that.
Yeah.
He was back in some form before that.
Yeah.
But it's because he spent a long stint in movie jail, where he just couldn't be out there. Because if somebody released a movie with Mel Gibson 6 months after he called a cop sugar tits, then everything they would talk about is that incident.
Well, so that's why
it's got to calm down a bit.
They are recutting an entire movie to cut Kevin Spacey out. Christopher Plummer's in.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's out.
Millions of dollars.
But
they're doing that shit in 6 weeks too.
I know.
That shit?
But in the end, I think that they know it'll make more money because people who might not have seen it will go see it just to be like, good for you.
Yeah.
Fuck him. Good for you.
I mean, like, I think that that's the money they're spending in putting Christopher Plummer in this movie is essentially marketing.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably the best marketing dollars they could spend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now everybody's talking about it. And
right.
He's going to be in it. So, but one thing I will say is that...
I mean, real quick before we move on, I think that what Louis got going for him in his path towards penance is the fact that he admitted it and apologized, which is always the number one thing you can do when there's a scandal.
Yeah.
Admit if it's true. Admit it. Apologize, try and find some way to move on.
Yep.
He did those 3 things. He said, you know, I did it. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. I can't believe the stories I read about these women and how I hurt them. I'm not going to be a part of I've done a lot of talking in my life. Now I'm going to do some listening. I'm going to take some time away.
Yeah.
And work on me. I think that as far as the playbook for trying to correct your image, that was the best thing he could possibly do.
And also, the victims saying that he had contacted them before.
Yeah.
And this was not an apology. He made a public apology, but that one of them got called 7 or 8 years after it. But before he gave his public apology, he contacted them directly and was like, I'm sorry about that. It's very belated, but I should have apologized before.
Right.
And it wasn't like he was relying on him going on TV or releasing a statement to be the apology to the victims.
Right.
He actually did apologize to all of them and then went and apologized publicly.
Yeah.
So there's that. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I will say that something we know is worse.
The problem is it's so many variant shades of gray.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot. So here's the one that bothers me, and I am a little bit hesitant about defending anybody who has any kind of
just putting you on by yourself. Go ahead. There you go.
I'm hesitant to defend anybody who has any kind of specter or aura of this around them.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm Woody Allen, I'm pretty fucking pissed right now because every single article that's being written about Hollywood sexism is trying to shoehorn Woody in no matter where they can.
But doesn't he not deserve to be put into that?
I think that the Soon-Yi thing is personally disgusting.
Soon-Yi, his stepdaughter.
Yes.
The girl that he raised from a child.
Yeah.
That's Soon-Yi? Is that who we're talking about? Okay, just making clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's disgusting, but also not illegal.
Do you know about grooming? Do you understand grooming?
I've heard of it. Yeah,
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I feel like, at least to me, the fact that Soon-Yi and Woody Allen have now been together for like almost 40 years kind of makes it up a little bit for the fact. I mean, like if he was all about the younger girls and it was all about young girls, then don't you think he would have ditched Soon-Yi and gone for a young girl at some point?
Unless he groomed her correctly and she's bringing young girls to him, and we just don't know about it yet.
I mean, it could be happening. I don't know shit, but I'm saying that I think that so there was the article that was put out by Ronan, his son with Mia Farrow.
Yeah.
Who said that it put it out there that he had raped his sister, not Woody's daughter, but Woody's stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Through Mia.
Right.
And now the allegation is being treated. I've read so many stories where the allegation is being treated like, well, we all know Woody raped his stepdaughter, and I'm just like, there's no. This is the thing that bothers me. I understand that we want to try and cast as wide a net as humanly possible and bring as many people as humanly possible into this.
Yeah.
But I feel like that there are...
Well, wait. Roman Polanski got consent. Every girl he had sex with, he had consent.
Yeah.
So is he okay?
No, I'm not. There's a difference. See, and this is the thing. Like, we're trying to shoehorn... Now we're trying to fit Louis C.K. and what he did in with what Woody Allen is accused of doing and what Roman Polanski has been found guilty of.
But you can't find
but
a through line that connects all of these people.
I can see the fact that sex was involved in all of the crimes and alleged crimes that they were accused of.
Being older and in a position of influence over the victim. That is the constant refrain.
Yeah.
It is being older, being in a position of influence and power over them, and using that in a manner to fuel your sexual desires. So, do they all fit in that same box? If I create that box, do all of the people we've talked about fit in that box?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So that's the connection. That's why they keep... they're not shoehorning them in. They're saying, hey, older, pervy guys who have power and influence over younger women, and they use that influence to drive their sexual desire. They all fit in that box. They're all the same.
Yes, I get it. All I'm saying
And for the
is
victims, it's kind of the same thing. I know that we as men are easy at gradiating the different gradation of these different kinds of things. But for a woman, she may be impacted just as much by what Louis C.K. did as by what Brett Ratner did, as by what Harvey Weinstein did. And so for the victims, that's the reality. That we can gradiate the action as a man as being different, but to the victim, it may mean the same thing.
I think that Woody did himself no favors by going after Sunyi.
Yeah. And then by having a career of movies based on older men dating younger women.
Yes, it's a through line, but I'm not saying that it's
some to the border of statutory rape. Some of the women portraying very, very young girls, teenage girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's not making it easy for himself.
Yeah,
but
he's not.
But I'm also saying that police examined did an investigation on the supposed rape when it happened.
Yeah.
It was immediately put out to the police. And one of the big things that they came back with was the fact that Mia, the mother of the victim, the alleged victim, was there with her daughter, sort of going like, and then what did he do? Like trying to force feed the story, like she was regurgitating things that had been told to her.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that was written over and over again in the police report. That when Mia was sitting there, she came to the details very quickly. And it was like, and then what happened? And then what happened?
Okay.
And then when interviewed alone, she didn't have much to say about it. And now she tells the story without Mia around. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, I feel like there was an investigation at the very least there. You know what I mean?
What decade was the investigation in?
Fucking 80s, 70s?
And Woody Allen was a pretty powerful guy at that time, yeah?
You don't think they would have loved to have locked up Woody Allen for rape?
I think that in the community in which he lived,
I think that Woody has done himself absolutely no favors by all the actions that he has made. And if there was a report tomorrow that said that Woody Allen is fondling girls, young girls, then I would not be surprised at all about these revelations.
Now,
and I would be very upset, and I would not. Listen, I'm not using him as a character witness or anything like that. I'm just saying that.
Don't throw him in the box with Brett Ratner and Louis C.K. and Harvey Weinstein.
No, I'm saying
it was only his own stepdaughter. It's not like it's other people's children. It's his own children. You had a note signed by her father that it was okay.
You're taking a very tired Corey, and you're prodding it in a way that I don't
he had a note signed by her father saying it was okay. So I mean, what's the big deal? All I'm saying is there is a through line. These are all similar cases, and we as adult men have the inability to see that victimization for these women is all. It can be the same.
I mean, what I'm essentially getting at is that how would you feel if you were accused of a crime?
I've been accused of a crime. This crime, before.
You're accused of a crime.
Yeah.
And it goes through all the proper channels to try and get you incarcerated for that crime.
Yeah.
And it fails. There's no evidence that proves that any of it happened.
Right.
There's only sort of like hearsay and leanings towards it and stuff like that. But there's nothing that can prove even to bring charges. Enough to even bring charges. But in every single article that's ever written about you for the rest of time, it brings up the time that you raped your stepdaughter like it actually happened.
Did you marry the same girl after she turned 18? Isn't the same girl? No, different.
No, it's a different
stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't marry your other stepdaughter, and then that's not a problem.
That happened before this.
I know, but then he married his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Don't do that, because if you do that, that's how you're going to be known. Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you wanted to write an article that said began a relationship with his stepdaughter and then married her and has been married to her for 35 years or whatever it is,
Yeah.
then I would be like, okay, well, that's all fact. That's all stuff that has happened.
He was also accused of raping his other stepdaughter.
Yes.
That is a fact. Something that happened.
Accused.
Dude, that's all it says. It says he was accused of it. He was accused of raping one stepdaughter.
I'm reading articles. God, it was. I don't want to throw out the publication specifically, but it was a notable publication.
Right.
It was like a Vanity Fair or a Hollywood Reporter or something like that. And they were talking about the long overdue problem of sexual misconduct in Hollywood.
Starting with,
and they had mentioned like the sentence specifically said Woody Allen who raped his stepdaughter.
Okay.
And I was like, huh, number one,
I guarantee you didn't say that. I guarantee you didn't say that. That's because they could be sued for libel if they said that.
Yeah.
So it must have said who was accused of raping his stepdaughter. There's no way it says something that was not true.
I was flabbergasted.
There's no way it says something that wasn't true. But all I will say is that Hollywood, a place, a democratic stronghold, we are policing our problem. Far too late, but we're doing it with gusto. What we're not doing, however, is seeing that on the other side of the aisle.
No.
Louis, if he could find any solace this week, it's that he wasn't the only show in town when it came to sexual harassment allegations this week.
Yeah.
He was the only guy getting crucified for it, which really, really stuck out to me. For those of you who haven't paid attention to the news this week, Roy Moore, who is a candidate for Senate in Alabama, former attorney general, I believe, as well.
Yeah, former judge.
Former judge.
Who got thrown off the bench for... Was it some sort of racist thing that he...
Yeah, didn't you say that the yellows and the whites and the blacks are all made different or something like that?
Something
and that's
like that.
judicial... They threw him off. Anyway,
yeah.
So now he's running for Senate. And
for Jeff Sessions' old seat.
For Jeff Sessions' old seat. So it's a special election. It didn't come up in the general election in November. It'll be up, I think, in January is when the election actually is. It has to be held within 1 year of the seat being vacated. So
I thought it was sooner than that, though. I thought it was in December.
It might be. It just has to be within 1 year. It doesn't have to fall on election day. And I think that there was some concern amongst people in the district that, like, don't throw it on the day with the other races, because we may lose those races. We want to have this seat set by itself. Make only the diehards come out. And allegations came out that while he was a 30-year-old, our age, 32, 33, 34-year-old prosecutor in some small town in Alabama, that he was involved in ongoing relationships with girls as young as 14 and up to the age of 17.
Yeah. And
everyone contacted for the story that I read said different versions of, well, you know, Mary was a teenager and Joseph was an adult and they were Jesus' parents, so that's probably all right. Or I don't think it's that uncommon for a teenager to date someone who's older than her. Or I don't know about these allegations. I think it's weird that they would come out now. This is probably just a Democratic ploy.
I don't think it's uncommon for a teenage girl to want to date somebody who's older.
Yeah.
I think that it's unusual for the older gentleman to say that's a really great idea. We should do that.
Yes. Probably the tweet of the week is, if you need to get her parents' permission to take her out, she's too young to be taking out. That's the problem.
Pretty much the people I've known in my life who have dated like older guys who dated girls in like high school and shit like that are people like named Skeeter and have like mullets and shit like that.
The best example of this is Matthew McConaughey from Dazed and Confused. Is that the movie?
I think so, yeah.
Or is it Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Fuck, it's one of those two. I think it's Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
The guy who hangs outside of the bowling alley, like,
I keep getting older and they keep saying the same age.
Like, that's Roy Moore, your candidate for Senate in Alabama.
Yeah.
And the kicker of all this, it's not that it happened and the allegations have come out. That sucks.
Yeah.
It's not that his party is backing him. It's that 1 week after the allegations come out, that race is still tied in the polls. And I don't understand.
Well, here's the other part. This is the one that personally bothers me. I was going on about the DNC last week.
Yeah.
And how the Democrats need to fucking own this and just like completely remove Hillary from any conversation about your party ever again.
Yeah.
Just like put her on the island of misfit toys and.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many of my Republican friends jumping on Hollywood sexism and everything like that. It's like, oh man, look at Harvey Weinstein, finally getting what he deserves. Like, off of, for the sake of argument here, we're going to say reports and rumors. Because there hasn't been any substantiated claims of what, well, I mean, I guess there was the audio recording. Just gonna go back and
just
make it
let you.
I'm saying that it's not like there's a videotape of Harvey like doing any of the things.
Just like 99% of the accusations.
I fucking get it. Please, can you
go ahead? So yeah, so
can I
Republican friends have been really hard on Harvey Weinstein.
Right, really hard on Harvey Weinstein because some people have come forward and told their tales. And that for the people who don't like him, and for the people who are on the other side of the aisle from him and want any reason for him to fail,
right?
They're like, oh, finally getting what he deserves. And then when the same thing happens for Roy Moore, they're just like, well, hold on a second, this is just unsubstantiated claims made by people who are telling a story.
Right, yeah.
Like, that's the... I feel like I can say unequivocally that I feel that the situation between Harvey Weinstein and Roy Moore, again, while differences of degrees and gradients, are just equally as sickening.
Sure.
The fact that it happened is equally as sick.
Yes.
But I'm not going to. I can't imagine that anybody would, like, why die on this hill? You know, like.
And here's the thing: you don't have to, because literally, the voters of Alabama are saying, "I would rather vote for a pedophile than a Democrat."
Yeah.
More than 50% of the people who are in the Republican establishment, when asked, said there is no way I would vote for his opponent. I am going to go to the polls. I am going to vote, and I'm going to vote for him, even if it's true, even if it is as bad as it seems. I'm still going to vote for him.
Yeah.
Because the other side is voting for a Democrat. Not even I'll stay home. It's I'm going to go and I'm going to vote for him. So you would rather vote for a pedophile than for a Democrat, and I don't even know how to comprehend that.
Yeah.
Just, it's spinning around up here. We've talked about the two-party problem before, why we need more than two parties. This is a number one, because you get put in the position of voting for this guy, or, by the way, his opponent, who prosecuted the finally revealed bombers of the 6th Street Baptist Church, who killed four little girls in 1964. Finally, their names came out, and he said, I don't care that they're 70. I'm prosecuting them, and I'm going to put them in jail. And he did. That's his opponent, the Democrat. That's the guy you're saying, I don't want to vote for that guy. I'd rather vote for my guy. The guy who, at the same age as our guy was prosecuting bombers of churches from the 1970s, was pulling 14-year-old girls out of the hallway of a courthouse and taking them into his office.
Yeah.
These are the two guys you have choices of. You'd rather vote for your guy than the other guy.
I mean... to be honest, though, the whole Roy Moore situation has been very unsettling.
Yes.
Even for Alabama, this is a bit of a bridge too far.
It is. At some point, can we just can we go back to 49? I'm just going back to 49 states. Let's just push them out into the ocean and be done with it. Or can we Cal exit already and just be done with everybody east? I'm done with that.
I feel like the Senate should also be able to, like, if somebody truly horrible is elected, should just be able to go like, oh no.
Well, so here's
You're
the
not
thing.
allowed.
They can censure him, but he gets his seat.
Yeah.
And to censure him, the Republicans have to say, okay, we have to be all right with needing 2 Democrats to get anything accomplished.
Yeah.
And are they going to do that?
No.
No, they're not.
I mean, they're already having to do that, though.
But it's basically deadlocked now because the seat's empty. So this is their win. And that's the thing, is they'll treat it like a win. Because what does he say? I might touch little girls, but I want tax reform.
Yeah.
And Obamacare is evil, and we need to get rid of it.
By the way, have you heard the number of people who said who made comments about how the corporations are getting taxed too much.
Yeah.
This is really a tax break for corporations and blah blah blah.
By the way, a lot of poor people, a lot of middle class people, corporations are getting taxed too much.
Yeah.
Soon, they'll raise my wages as soon as their taxes go down. No, they won't. They won't. You're going to be just as poor, but enjoy that. So, but good
Apple
news.
will still continue to not pay taxes.
Yes. The good news is, if you want to see it as good news, because again, I hate that there's only two parties to choose from, but if you want to find a light at the end of the tunnel, there was some elections last Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
None in any states that we really cared about. Local elections here, I think we're done in the spring, basically. It's like Baltimore.
California basically has an election every 74 days.
Yeah, so it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah.
And again, the local election is basically all Democrats, so it's vote in the primary.
Yeah.
After that, it's not really that important. You need 3 people to show up.
California, at least the Los Angeles races, I don't know if this is how it is statewide.
Yeah.
But when the congressional seat was up for our neighborhood, it was 2 Democrats.
Yeah.
But it's because they take the highest 2 vote totals of anybody who runs.
Right.
So, like, the thought process would be that, maybe there would be 1 Democrat and 1 Republican who get most of the votes, and then you'd face them 2 off in the general.
A Democrat and a Green, who both get most
or
votes.
whatever.
Yeah.
But no, just 2 Democrats who happen to get more votes than any of the Republicans, so they go into a Democrat versus Democrat battle.
Sure.
Where, what's his fucking face?
Weezer?
Huh?
No, Weezer's the guy we like.
Yeah, he's the councilman.
Weezer, yeah.
Who's the guy? Oh, Lee.
Refer back to earlier episodes of the podcast.
I can't remember what his first name was, but it was like...
Go back to episode...
It wasn't Robert Lee.
No, episode 160, around there. That's when this really started. Kicked off right at the beginning of the summer.
Where he would send out things going just like, important jury duty notice. I'm just like, oh, god damn it. And then I open it up, it's just like, Robert Lee needs you to vote for him. And I'm just like, how fucking dare you?
All right.
How fucking dare you send me a letter that says jury duty on it.
Yeah. But so the Democrats had very important elections in Virginia, New Jersey.
Yep.
I feel like there was somewhere else too.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of local races as well.
But the big news is Virginia's state house is now tied and may end up going to the Democrats once the recounts are all done. For the first time since Reconstruction, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
No, since the party switch in the 60s. But yeah, since Democrats became Democrats and Republicans became Republicans, this will be the first time they've held the state house. And here, to your expert opinion, is this people turning on Donald Trump? Is this a sign for what's to come in 2018?
I don't know. I think that I can't remember the name of the Republican. Was it Gillespie or something like that?
Yes, Governor Gillespie, or the guy running for governor.
Yeah, he was comically bad.
Yeah,
he was just the wrong choice to run in this race. He was a lobbyist for most of his adult life.
The worst thing that you could picture running in this climate.
And not like a lobbyist for something that you could argue is like good at heart or something.
Yeah,
like he was like a lobbyist for like tobacco and the gun, like everything. Like
no one's thank you for smoking. It's basically Aaron Eckhart incarnate running for governor. So and at the beginning, not at the end of that.
Yeah, and then there like he would put out these ridiculous statements going like, well, I mean, it's not a problem now, but I'm gonna make sure that we don't have any sanctuary cities in Virginia. And then it was just like. Talking about Confederate monuments and all these like greatest hits, but like at the end of the day, you just sound ridiculous talking about something that's not even a problem.
Yeah,
it's like if he went up and had a speech where he was just like, "I'm gonna get rid of the zombies when they come.
They're not a problem now.
You can trust me, zombies won't be a problem when they become a problem."
Yeah,
with these, Governor.
But the most ironic victory of the day, the one I appreciate the most, is the first transgendered state representative in America. Beating the guy who built, or not built, but like wrote the Virginia bathroom bill.
Yeah.
That is irony on a Hollywood proportions. Like if someone
there was another one too. The boyfriend of the news reporter who got shot on live TV.
Right. Yeah.
Won in a race against somebody who had like a 97% rating from the NRA.
Right. Yeah. But
and he ran on guns. Like,
this is what America is about. Like you can say that in that district at least, it's not statewide, but in that state house district, they said, are we for the trans bathroom bill or are we against it? This is a very distinct choice between these two.
Yeah.
Or are we ready for smart gun control or are we ready for the NRA to continue to do what they're doing? That is in that other district. That is a very clear distinction between the two. But overall, my question and the one that I don't know that anybody has a good answer to does it bode well for 2018 or not? And I think it's hard to say because the story of Congress is everyone hates Congress, but they love their congressmen and they keep sending them back.
I mean, it'd be like saying we don't know so much about these races that I feel comfortable like speculating on like why somebody won and somebody lost.
Right.
Because I don't know anything about that guy who had a 97% rating from the NRA. I don't know anything about the guy who wrote the transgender bathroom bill or anything like that. Like he could have been, lighting children on fire for all I know. Like,
well, not quite that bad, but pretty bad. They're both horrible human beings.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know their names. I don't know what they do. I don't know how they campaigned. I don't know anything. It's like when Kathleen Kennedy Townsend lost to Bob Ehrlich in the Maryland governor's race.
2002, yes.
There was a lot of people that I know, who came up to me and were just like, "How did a fucking Kennedy lose in Maryland?" And I'm just like, she's terrible.
Yeah.
She's like the worst. Nobody wanted her, and she, much like Anthony Brown did when he lost to Hogan.
Yeah, sat on his ass.
They just coasted, thinking they were gonna win, and they never went out there. And then meanwhile, Hogan and Bob Ehrlich are barnstorming all over the state.
Pick up enough. That's all. Just gotta pick up a few places.
It was that was the reason why both of them won.
Yep.
Because the other candidate didn't bother to try, and the other guy went all out.
Yep.
And it's not about whether or not they had a good. Remember, I was talking I hadn't even seen Anthony Brown on TV until the last week of the race.
Yeah, it's like they saved the money.
Yeah,
they saved money just to bombard, and by that time, people made up their mind.
But it wasn't even that. I was watching the news pretty regularly at the time because this was post Freddie Gray, and there was all kinds of stories on the news that I wanted to see. And Anthony Brown wasn't having campaign rallies or shit. It wasn't until the very end when the polls got close that he finally went out there and started meeting with people. And then by that point, it was just way too late.
I will say though that both of these guys were actively campaigning. This really came down to they made it you need to decide who you back. Do you back me and what I stand for, or do you back everything else that's going on? And the problem is, like a lawyer, the rule for being a lawyer is you never ask a question in the courtroom that you don't already know the answer to.
Yeah.
They both asked the question, assuming they knew the answer, and they did not. That was unfortunate. They said, you're going to back the NRA or you're going to back this other guy. And turns out people were not going to back the NRA anymore.
Yeah.
Or are you for the transgender bill or are you against it? And people came out and said, we're against it. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a different world. Because yes, Anthony Brown sat back and was lazy. These two guys were just like, let me put the ball in your court, and really should have not done that to the voters. Unfortunately, that's how that ends up.
No, I mean, there's so many reasons that people win or lose elections.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was the Democrats, I would take this as your clue. Here's your sign.
Yes.
If you run people who have compelling stories,
diverse, compelling stories.
Yeah,
is where it's at.
I'm running because my girlfriend was murdered on live TV by a gun, and now I am going to do what I can to try and protect other people from guns. And then guess who wins? That guy.
Surprisingly, there was a lot of veterans running as Democrats this time too,
Yeah.
which is something that hasn't happened probably in the history of the country.
The number of women who won seats in Virginia was impressive.
Minorities winning seats.
Yeah, it was a huge win for the Democratic base.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, But there's still talk about who's going to run for the Democrats in 2020 in the presidential election, and we're trying to shoehorn whoever.
Trying to push Joe Biden.
Yeah.
The oldest, whitest man in Democratic politics, and you're still talking. Like, have we learned nothing?
Yeah.
Have we learned nothing? You get a diverse core of young people of color, white people, but also people of color, multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and they just sweep everywhere you put them out.
Yeah.
And what are we going to put up as our party's figurehead? The
Joe
old
Biden.
white guy from Delaware.
Yeah.
Really? Really? Ugh.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, even if Joe Biden is our candidate, we don't have to worry about him mean girl tweeting foreign leaders while he's on trip. So there's that, at least.
Yeah. It seems like a simpler day when I would laugh at the Onion's articles about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And now it's like they've come to life and became president.
I do not understand. First of all, it's like he doesn't know that other people see the tweets. That's what I don't get. Like, he goes and has a meeting with Deng Xiaoping and the president of China, incorrectly identifies his wife as Mrs. Mrs. Ping.
Yeah.
Not his last name. Xi is his last name.
Yeah.
They say it the opposite. And I feel like somebody was in there saying, sir, okay, last name Xi, first name Ping. That's how we're gonna figure it out, which is not his actual name. That I'm thinking about it. I think I'm thinking about somebody from the 1980s, but that's not important. He got the name wrong. But then he comes out of the meeting. He gives a press report and he reads it, and he sounds so bored.
He sounds like a prisoner reading a note.
Yeah, like a kidnapped victim.
Yeah,
reading
exactly.
a ransom note. That's what it is. And then he gets on Twitter and says the exact opposite thing of what he said. It's like, you realize they speak English. They're going to be able to read your Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
We have the ability to translate language these days. Like,
I don't understand. So he goes to Japan and he puts on a funny hat, and people are starting to say, hey, maybe this guy is figuring it out. And then he goes to China, and clearly he's not. And then he mean girl tweets the other guy who's crazy and leading a country. He mean girl tweets him. I don't fucking get that whatsoever. And then he goes to meet Putin, the president of our ally, Russia. Yeah. And comes out of that meeting and says, oh yeah, no, I believe him. They had nothing to do with any hacking that happened during the campaign. I think it's fine. Which, by the way, talk about Roy Warren or Woody Allen not doing himself any favors. Listen, Trump, you're not doing yourself any favors. Nothing works worse than when you come out of the meeting and it's like, all looks good to me. Mueller, I think you're on the wrong track. So let's just tweet about it a little bit. Like, I don't understand what is going on with the world. I don't understand the planet that we live on right now. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Like, honestly, if you could move to the United Federation of Planets outpost on Mars, would you go right now? Says Corey.
No.
He's on his phone right now. Sorry.
No, I'm looking for something. There was a tweet I saw earlier, and I thought I retweeted it, but maybe I didn't. Or maybe I retweeted it from an account I shouldn't have.
Yeah, so
I mean, it wasn't a bad thing. It was.
You wouldn't go live on Mars, then? That's what you're saying? Just to get off this planet?
No. I don't imagine they have any cities or Netflix on Mars.
Okay, what if they had cities and Netflix on Mars?
Are there people there now?
Yes.
I mean, like, did something happen while I wasn't paying attention? Or?
Yes, let's just say. If you had an alternative planet to go to that wasn't the Earth with the United States, would you go?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm more committed to fixing the one we got than...
Sometimes you gotta burn the house down and start over again.
I mean,
the termite damage is too much, and the shingles are falling off.
Maybe when the buzzers start going off for the intercontinental missile that's heading right for us.
Yeah.
I'll be like, all right, I'll go to Mars now.
Then it'll be to...
There's a nuclear warhead heading our way. I'll go to Mars now.
Well, but luckily, I had some fear that like maybe there would be a nuclear strike and they wouldn't tell us. But I don't think that Trump could go without tweeting it. Like, listen, Kim, this will not go unanswered. We're firing our missiles now. It's going to be like that video, the first viral video, like, fire some missiles. Like, it's going to be that.
What's going to upset me is that let's say that next week, let's say on Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh. Which, by the
Trump,
way, is only 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Let's say Thanksgiving, Trump decides to launch a nuclear missile at North Korea.
Yes.
I imagine that a week prior to, we're going to get a tweet from like Roger Stone.
Yeah.
Going like, big things about to happen in North Korea. I'd pay attention. Just like, how the fuck do you tell Roger Stone what you're doing before?
Well, hopefully some
How
similar...
does he know? But it seems like generals aren't tackling Trump to keep him from launching nukes.
Hopefully some of those similar conversations happened with Papadopoulos in the room, and they were recorded on the wire that he secretly wore, and Mueller is contemplating charges right now. That's really our only hope. I don't know. I want to have faith that you elect somebody and that they grow into the office. Like sometimes we on the other side elect idealistic people who need to learn how the world is. Barack Obama was one of those. He didn't lie to you in 2012 and said that it was still about hope and change when he knew he wasn't able to do it. But that's okay. That aside, we have immature, idealistic people. We elect them to the office and they grow into the middle ground.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that, by the way, I mean politically immature and politically idealistic.
Yeah.
On the other side, we have a psychologically immature and not idealistic person. And you think maybe they'll grow into the office, but instead, like a petulant child, I'm going to fight this 100% the whole way. So,
we have one more story.
Yeah.
I wanted to get to it real quick before we go.
Sure. We're at 1:17, so...
Yeah, I know. Well, that's also including a little bit of the time frame.
2 minutes, so we're at 1:15.
Yeah. Story that came out today on ESPN.
Yes. Today as we record this, so that's on Sunday.
Yes. A very long article about the New England Patriots and their continued cheating throughout the entire run of their success.
I want to say a ridiculously long article.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any need for it to be that long, really.
It was thorough. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And by the way, fix your mobile app, guys, or fix the way that it displays on mobile.
Yes, please. If I can spread any message to ESPN, it's very annoying to be reading this 100,000 word article.
Yeah.
And I'm like going through, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Corey, you got to get back to set. I'm like, all right, and I lock my phone and I put it in my pocket, and then I go to unlock it later to read the rest of the article, and I'm back up at the top. And it's like, no, I got to spend 5 minutes finding where I was.
Yeah.
Reading through like one sentence every couple paragraphs, going like, yeah, read that part.
No, wait here. And then you read.
And then I start doing like I'm gonna read until I get to a picture.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna stop, and then I can go to find the picture.
Yeah.
Because I can easily identify that.
Fix it, guys. Fix it.
And just like, oh, there's Eric Mangini. I can continue reading.
Yeah. Anyway.
Spygate, which you may remember from 2006? 2008?
I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was that the Patriots had videotaped coaches doing their signals on the sideline.
Yeah.
And there was some wonderkin in the Patriots research team who was able to code them and use them to help the Patriots win games.
Yes.
And the NFL, by that I mean Roger Goodell, said that, it was just a couple preseason games. There was really only 6 incidents of this happening, and it wasn't really that big of a deal. And don't worry, we destroyed all the evidence. So everyone move along. We're gonna punish the Patriots, but you know,
took the first round draft pick, which by the way they would have gotten the last one that year because they won the Super Bowl. Right. So that was a huge it was the year that the Giants beat them. Okay, so
they had the perfect season going into the Super Bowl and lost.
So they got the 29th pick. 31st pick of the draft, and they lost that, unfortunately. And they fined Bill Belichick $500,000 and fined the team $250,000. Yeah. So punishment dealt.
Yeah, but it actually turns out, based off of this ESPN investigation, that they had been spying since 2001.
Yeah.
And that it was happening constantly, and that way too many people are on the record saying that it's like they knew what we were going to do prior to doing it.
Well, that's because they did know what we were going to do, turns out.
And that there is now more, not evidence, but more leans to the fact that the Patriots were doing the same sort of system when they had won their first Super Bowl against the Rams.
2001.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that part of the reason why Roger Goodell didn't throw the hammer at the Patriots is because Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, helped Roger Goodell get his job.
Yes, his job, which pays really well.
$44 million last year.
Yeah.
$44 million to be the second worst commissioner in sports. You heard that right.
Yeah, and so...
Because as we know, the worst commissioner in sports is Gary Bettman, who hates his fans, who wakes up every single morning with a rock-hard erection at the thoughts of how he's going to screw NHL fans that day.
Yeah.
He just wakes, he's like, oh man, my massive 2-inch chode is just erupting out of my pants with thoughts of how I'm going to make NHL fans miserable.
Anyway, so
I just wanted to use the word chode. I haven't used that one in probably 20 years.
Robert Kraft helped Roger Goodell get his job.
Yep.
And then Roger Goodell helped out Robert Kraft by destroying the evidence of the investigation.
Yep.
Right there at Gillette Stadium, where it was created.
In a secret room that only Belichick and a handful of other people knew about.
Yeah. So...
By the way, Belichick and... I can't remember the name of the guy, the guru that they're speaking of. They both worked at the Browns, too. And Art Modell apparently offered people $10,000 if they could tell what the guru did for the team.
After he
left? He would like walk around going like, I will give you $10,000 if you tell me what this guy does.
Oh, man. Now Art Modell.
Yeah.
May he rest in peace. The savior of Baltimore, thank you. But yeah, so what did we learn from the article? We learned nothing except all of our suspicions were in fact justified.
Yeah.
They are a bunch of cheaters. They've been cheating since 2001, and when they got caught in 2008, it was wheels spinning to figure out a new way to cheat.
Yes.
And who knows how long they were deflating balls before they got caught doing it. And that was 2015.
Now here's the thing. They also talk about this in the article. How, I mean, all evidence proves that the NFL didn't handle Deflategate in a proper manner, and that there was no real crime being committed because they couldn't prove that that an offense was made. They didn't make any kind of. It's like if I would poke you to find out if you're drunk.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, you're clearly drunk. You're a little bit squishier than you normally are.
Yeah. And
we all know that means drunk. And it's like, well, that doesn't hold up in court. In court. That's not a scientific test. But that was the argument for Deflategate. Is like we tested all the balls, and it's just like, well, did you test all the balls under, scientific conditions, or how did you test these balls? Like what happened? And then Tom Brady destroyed his cell phone, and that became the reason why the NFL decided to throw the book at him.
And they
specifically said the NFL, the 31 other NFL owners basically agreed that the Deflategate situation was the makeup call for the blowing of the Spygate.
Right.
Yeah.
And
this is Brady taking his punishment for not taking it before.
The problem is, every time Tom walks around, he's got those rings that he can show on his fingers.
Yeah.
And all of those came during that period, during the initial cheating period, or as a result of the Deflategate.
Well, here's the question. If you are, let's say...
Asterisk.
Asterisk?
That's my answer. Asterisk, absolutely.
Asterisk, that doesn't do anything.
Sure, it doesn't. It doesn't punish him. Do you take the rings and give him an asterisk?
No, but I'm saying, here's what I would say. Say it's true.
Yeah.
Say we come up with more facts about this and find out that it's long running and pervasive. It happened from 2001 to now.
Yeah.
And they've been stealing signs and doing all kinds of sneaky shit.
Like turning off headsets, which we talked about like a year ago now.
Right.
Yeah.
How there was in the story they talked about how one team made sure that an NFL official was in the coach's booth.
Yeah.
And then as soon as a crucial 3rd and 10 came up, their headsets went down. They're just like, this is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
3rd and 10. This is the shit that happens. Say that we find more evidence that this is in fact the truth, and that the Patriots have been cheating consistently for a long time. Mm-hmm. Do you think that keeps Brady, Belichick out of the Hall of Fame? Do you think it hangs over them like steroids on Bonds or Clemens or
Belichick? Yes.
McGuire.
Brady probably not, because he'll have deniability on everything except on everything. But Belichick should be banned. Pete Rose him.
Ooh.
Pete Rose, Belichick.
Wow.
And I would say his entire staff. Pete Rose's entire staff.
Pete Rose's entire staff?
Yeah, you participated in cheating. Way worse than, by the way, Pete Rose participated. He didn't really even cheat. There was allegations that he was fixing games because he was betting on them. I don't think they ever proved that, did they? They just found out he was betting on games.
Well, the betting on games is the part.
Right.
It's not about whether or not he bet on his team. He did. By the way, he admitted to
it. But
I'm saying,
fixing the games.
much like the problem isn't Louis masturbating in front of women. It's about the abuse of power.
Right.
The crime is gambling, which you can't do in baseball.
Which you shouldn't do.
No, which is against the rules to do.
You bet on baseball all the time.
I bet on baseball. I'm not a baseball player.
Didn't you say earlier this week you thought you could be a coach? Oh, it was an NFL coach.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay. Yeah.
Because right now I'm mad and I'm marching the Browns to like a 9-1 record.
Right after you finish Beastmaster, you'll move on to NFL coaching. But no, I think that Brady hopefully will be kept out of the Hall of Fame, because like Bonds.
Yeah.
But let him play out the rest of his 2 or 3 years or whatever he's got left in his tank. Belichick, ban immediately, and anyone who has worked for him at all, ban immediately, and ban them for life. And the Patriots, what is a good penalty for a owner who basically has run ramshot over the entire league and has encouraged this kind of behavior?
What would my punishment for him be?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I haven't really thought.
Oh, these are dark.
I haven't really thought of it. I would. I don't like the Astros personally, because there's no saying that any of this works or that it added to extra wins or anything like that.
They had a perfect season.
Oh, I know.
A perfect season.
That happened the year after the spying stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
But I'm saying I don't put it past them that they found out a new dirty trick.
Right. That they had a new dirty trick, and then as soon as they got caught using one, they're like, all right, plan B, there we go. Yeah.
I mean, and all it takes is one play or a couple plays. If they turn the right way, then you can win a game.
The 3rd and 10, and when you're driving down the field and you stop the drive.
I mean, I always thought that the wide receiver pass play that they ran against the Ravens in the playoffs that one year seemed awfully like on the nose.
Okay.
I'm not saying there's dirty tricks involved, but I'm saying like it seemed like they picked the perfect time to use that one play because there was no safety help back there. It was like they were waiting for the one play where there was no safety coverage.
Defense. When they call this defense, it's going to be the time to audible to this play.
Yeah. That always felt a little fishy to me.
So what is your punishment? What's your punishment? No asterisk because you don't like the asterisk. What's your punishment then?
I think I'm going to go college football on them.
Okay.
They're not allowed.
Ban the team?
What?
Ban the team? They're not allowed to play?
They're allowed to play.
Yeah.
But regardless of how good they are, regardless of their record, they're not allowed to play in the playoffs for as many years as we can prove they've been cheating for.
Wow.
So if it's 2001 to 2017,
16 years?
16 years. Even if you had a 16-0 record, no playoffs.
Yeah.
Just you're automatically eliminated from the pool of potential playoff contenders.
So that means that the second place team wins the East.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's it. That's harsh. I thought my lifetime ban for coaches was harsh, but that's fucking harsh.
Listen, if you want to get serious about it, you gotta go in, and that
decimates the team because nobody's gonna come play for you. Nobody wants to come play for you.
Yeah,
they're gonna become the '80s and early '90s Patriots again.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I feel like it's only fair. I mean, like, you had an unprecedented streak.
Yeah.
Any fan of the New England Patriots has nothing. If the Patriots don't win another Super Bowl for 25 years, you people have no right to complain.
Yeah.
Because you've won so many already.
Wealth. You've had a wealth.
Yeah.
A dearth of them.
Yeah. Just like the Yankees who complain, like the Yankee fans this offseason or like this playoffs when they're
we're gonna win the World Series. Say what happened? It's a rebuilding year. It's a rebuilding year.
The Yankees should have won. They were the best team in baseball. It's like, no, they weren't. It's like, well, they still should have won.
Just because they're Yankees,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Nobody's gonna watch this series.
Yeah.
Houston, LA. Who lives there?
Only the second and fourth largest cities in the country. It's
It's like, anyway.
It's fine. Speaking of the second largest city in the country, TheAnthem.com. Corey to TheAnthem.com. That made no sense. The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com where you can find links to my political blog, findingthefuture.us, the news website at deaddrop.com, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rouse Books.
Thank you, sir. And also make sure, as we've talked about before, you can check out CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com. You can find links to all the social media up there, including blog posts, hopefully this week, about his experiences over the last couple of weeks, because I think you haven't updated in a week and a half. So, did you talk about the being on the feature?
No, not yet. That's one that I wanted to write. I didn't get the chance to do it because I went right onto another project.
Yeah.
But hold on, let me check. How due for a blog entry am I?
Pretty due.
September 20th.
Ooh, it's been a while.
Yeah, so I gotta write one.
Check out Corey Baker Filmmaker for an update on the blog. Make sure you subscribe.
If you haven't been reading, you can do that. You can go check out 2 premieres.
Oh, wait.
2 premieres. The latest blog article from Corey Baker Filmmaker.
Hey, there you go. And of course, as I said, I'm gonna
mobile optimized too, in case you want to read it on your phone.
Yeah, so it doesn't scan up to the top.
Yeah, cool. Much better than ESPN.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to do a post this week, youtube.com/Robert and Cheek, about MoviePass and how my first experience went there. And I think that's everything. Is that about everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the OD Anthem podcast, part of the OD Anthem Digital Network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Countdown to horrible messages for me on Twitter about Woody Allen in 3, 2, 1.